Hi, my name is Bekah. Welcome to my video series, Everyday English Every Day. Today we're talking about the question, what do you do? It's like asking, where do you work? We're talking about someone's job. We're going to listen to a conversation I had with my friend John, and we're going to focus on the legalization of marijuana in parts of the world. For a little more, we're talking about smoking pot. All right, guys, subscribe to my channel and give my videos a like, add comments, ask me questions below. All right, so we had a conversation together, John and I, and during our conversation, I want you to pull out certain phrases so you can practice them. The idea is that you get comfortable using them in your own real world, real life situations, your everyday conversation. All right, so let's review the phrases together. Repeat after me. Remember, it's super important to repeat aloud, okay? You need to really speak to improve your English speaking skills. And repetition is super important because it's like exercise for your mouth, right? You're getting comfortable using these new sounds and these new grammar structures. All right, repeat after me. I started out as a journalist, marijuana being legalized. It was a big deal. Your job sprung up at that moment. My job was normalization. Was reporting on cannabis. There is nothing to be afraid of. It's a medicine. It's a recreational thing. 100 years of bad press. Hired by a grower in Canada to be their director of business development. Okay, so listen to our conversation and remember, pick out the phrases. After you hear them, press pause and repeat again. What do you do? What is your career?
Okay, my career. Well, I started out as a journalist 4 years ago in cannabis. So I was reporting on marijuana being legalized in Canada and in various parts of the world, including the United States. And
when
then
did it become legal? Was that 4 years ago?
In Canada, they started announcing that it was going to become legal about 4 years ago, and it actually became legal on October 17th, 2018 was when it finally was the official day. And so it was obviously a big deal because Canada was
but your job kind of like came up, it sprung up at that moment to kind of get ready for it to become legalized, right? To get the information out there.
Exactly. My job was to basically, it was normalization, essentially. So I was reporting on cannabis and telling people there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, this is coming. It's a medicine. It's a recreational thing, you know, because it's had 100 years of bad press. So now it's basically trying to show people that, you know, obviously you have to be careful because it's like anything else, just like alcohol or like other things. It is a substance, but it's not something that's going to kill you, you know, and things like that. So my job was to report on it. And then based on the reporting that I did for 2 years, I wrote a book, which was published. And then I was hired by a grower in Canada to be their director of business development. So right now, my job with them is to buy large amounts of cannabis so they can turn it into things like chocolate and joints and all those different.
Okay, so let's look at the parts of this conversation again to really understand how to use all these phrases. Okay, what do you do? Where do you work? Tell me about your career. Remember, your career is like your job, right? How you earn a living. What do you do is talking more about the action, right? Like, oh, I'm a teacher. Where do you work? Well, that focuses more on like the location. I work at a school. I work at an online platform. I work online. So John said, I started out as a journalist 4 years ago in cannabis. So cannabis is marijuana, right? He started out as a journalist. When you start out, it's a phrasal verb, you begin, right? So he began working as a journalist, writing articles for things like magazines. I was reporting on marijuana being legalized in Canada and in various parts of the world. So when it's legal, it means it's not a crime anymore, right? It can be used legally. It's not against the law. He also said, I wrote a book which was published. So remember, wrote is the simple past of write, right? He completed a book. He wrote a book. He also said, I was hired by a grower in Canada to be their director of business development. When you're hired by someone, that means someone gives you a job. You can be hired by a company, right? Now, when you're hired, you're the employee. The company that hired you is the employer. So he gave a little more details about what he does. He said, so right now, my job with them is to buy large amounts of cannabis so they can turn it into things like chocolate and joints. So chocolate talks about edibles, right? The way of eating cannabis. And joints are things that you smoke. Okay, so John says it was a big deal when weed got legalized in Canada. Something that's a big deal is of great importance. It was super important. It was big news. I said, so your job came up or sprung up to kind of get ready for it to become legalized, to get the information out there. When you get information out there, you're sharing knowledge with others. John said, my job was normalization, essentially. I was reporting on cannabis and telling people there's nothing to be afraid of. When you're afraid of something, you have a fear. I'm afraid of snakes. So normalization is the idea that it's normal, right? It's nothing to be scared of. He needed to let people know this is coming, it's happening, right? Weed is going to be legal in Canada. It's a medicine, it's used for medicinal purposes. And it's also a recreational thing for fun and enjoyment and relaxation. So he said the expression to get bad press. If a company gets bad press or a thing gets bad press, it's negative or unflattering coverage by the media, okay? The media isn't talking about it in a positive light, right? It's negative coverage. So John said, it's had 100 years of bad press, marijuana. So now it's basically trying to show people that obviously you have to be careful because it's like anything else, just like alcohol and other things. It is a substance, but it's not something that's going to kill you. All right, so let's look a little more about smoking pot. First, let's talk about some different words we can use. We can call it marijuana, pot, weed, bud, grass, ganja, and Mary Jane. So we can say to smoke marijuana, to smoke pot, to burn, to toke, to puff, like puff, puff, pass. And we can smoke smoke it, I guess, in different ways. You can smoke a joint, You can smoke a bowl. You can take a bong hit or rip a bong. Now, you can also vape. We're going to talk about vaping and edibles in the next video next week, so be sure to look for that. And we can say to get high or to be high, or we could use the word stone too when we're talking about this. All right, feel free to make sentences and put them in the chat so I can review your English work. All right, so here is a Getting High playlist, some of my favorite songs about marijuana. I suggest you find them on YouTube to play them. So we have Kaya, another name for marijuana, by Bob Marley. Cypress Hill is an awesome group, right? Hits from the Bong and I Want to Get High. Peter Tosh sings Legalize It. Smoke Two Joints by Sublime. Roll Another Joint and You Don't Know How It Feels by Tom Petty. Everybody Must Get Stoned by Bob Dylan. The Weed Song by Bone Thugs and Harmony. Champagne Supernova by Oasis. Got to Get You Into My Life by the Beatles. Gimme the Weed by Buju Banton. So, and then Because I Got High, Positive Remix by Afroman. So this is a very eclectic playlist, right? There's lots of different genres of music that are represented. So it's a mix for everyone. All right, guys, if you like my video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Mondays and Wednesdays. Comment below, ask me questions, practice the phrases, and I'll review them for you. Write your sentences in the comments. Feel free to email me if you have any more questions or you need any help, okay? Have a good one. Watch some of my other videos. Follow me. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to make. All right, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.